Hello, welcome to this Dinja Waħda video. Today we continue the story of plants. You already know a lot, but let's learn some more. Is this a plant? Yes, of course it is. How do I know? Because it's green and it has leaves. How about these? I can see a lot of color in this picture. Are there any plants? Oh, yes, there are. There's a field full of them. How do I know? Because there are flowers and only plants have flowers. Now, how about this one? Are there any plants in this photo? Of course there are. And how do I know? Because plants have stems and branches and leaves. How about this little thing? Is this a plant? Yes, it is. And how do I know? Because it has green leaves. It's a small plant and it has small flowers. The flowers of this plant are not very bright, but they're nice and fluffy. So here they are all together. Now let's go over that again. That's a tree, and that's the shape of a tree. That's a bush, nice and round, and that's the shape of a bush. And these two are both wildflowers. They're all plants. So which of these is the bush? This one, of course, it's round. All right then, which one is the tree? There it is, tall. It has a trunk. So there's a nice bunch of wildflowers. What different shapes and sizes. Which one of these lives longest? I'm sure you know it's the tree. And which one lives least? The wildflowers. But you know something? They all begin in the same way. They all begin their life as a seed. Here's the seed of an oak tree. This bit is where the growth will start. The first thing that grows out is the root. It goes way down and it starts drinking. The root, remember, will hold the plant in place. It will hold it tied to the ground. The next thing that comes out is the shoot. And the shoot will go upwards and carry the leaves. The leaves will start turning green and making food for the plant. Then the plant will continue to grow, bigger and bigger. Some plants will stay small, some will grow into enormous trees. So let's see if we can put that in a line. First, we have the seed. Then it grows into a plant with many leaves. Here you can see some plants just starting to grow out of the soil. Even a big tree looks just like this when it's young, soft and green. Look, here's a tree still coming out of its seed. Here it is after 2 or 3 years, and here it is after many, many years, maybe 20 years. So you see, all seeds, even tree seeds, look just the same when they're very young. Right, so what happens after a plant grows? It starts to make flowers. Aren't these flowers just beautiful? These are flowers of trees and bushes and of wild plants growing by the side of the road. But Why do plants make flowers? Why do they need these bright colors and lovely smells? If you look at these pictures, I think you can tell why. Plants make flowers so that insects will come onto them. You can see insects on each of these flowers. Bees, butterflies, bugs, and all the different animals with wings you can see are called insects. When insects like bees and butterflies and beetles see those colors, they know they simply must go down onto the flowers. And you know why? Because inside the flower there is food for them. Because inside every flower there is a drink. It's called nectar. And it's a delicious mix of sugar and water right in the middle of the flower. And there's also food. It's called pollen. And it's on the outside of the flower. Wildflowers are so important for insects because there are a lot of them. And that means a lot of food for insects. And they grow for free out in the countryside. I imagine if they could speak, bees would say, "Thank you, flowers." Because sometimes when people cut wildflowers, insects go hungry and get very tired looking and looking. And if they get too thirsty and too hungry, they won't even find their way back home. So we must always let wild plants like these grow and never pick them, so that they can make flowers and keep insects happy. You can also grow some at school. Why not? Even in pots. Insects will find them. Right, so now we can continue the story of our plant. Step 1. Seeds. Out of the seeds grows the stem and the leaves, and the plant grows bigger. Now, when the plant is ready, it makes flowers. Wait a minute. Why do plants make food for insects in their flowers? I mean, why do all that work to make flowers and then put food inside them for bees and butterflies and all the other insects? Well, you see, it's because plants need insects to do a job for them. Let's see what that job is. Here comes a bee and it knows there's food. It goes right down into where the nectar is and starts drinking. But as it drinks, its hairy body gets full of sticky yellow dust called pollen. And when it flies away, that pollen stays on its body. Now the bee goes into another flower. It drinks nectar, and as it leaves, some of the pollen that was stuck on its body comes off and stays behind on the second flower. Now when pollen from one flower goes into another flower, it changes into seeds. Have a look. So here's the flower with the middle bit having pollen that came from another flower, brought over by the bee. Now, that pollen is going to go on a journey. It's going to go inside the middle part of the flower, right into that middle bit you can see where the arrows are pointing. Now the flower starts changing. The petals dry, they lose their color, and the flower loses its smell. But hey, life is not over yet, because the most important bit is happening right there in the middle. The middle starts to grow and grow and grow and to change colour. Guess what's happening? That's right, it's a fruit, and inside the fruit there are seeds. So that's happening inside the flower after the bees and the other insects come and mix their pollen. Some seeds are brown and hard, like these. Some are long, in a pocket, just like these ones. Some are inside a fruit, like these. And some are inside a vegetable, like these. There are many, many kinds of seeds, but all of them have something special inside. They all have a food store that helps them grow out their very first baby leaves, and this happens every year. Isn't that amazing? Alright, let's make a plant story from these pictures. This is the story of a pumpkin. A pumpkin is a plant. Let's put numbers in the boxes to show what happens first and what comes next. Ready? Okay. What do you think? Which is number 1? Which is number 2? Which is number 3? And which is number 4? Alright, let's do it. First come the seeds. And then the seeds grow leaves and stems, and the plant grows. Then the plant makes flowers. The bees and the butterflies and the bugs come. They take pollen from one flower to another. The pollen goes into the middle bit and the seeds happen. In this plant, the seeds are inside a juicy vegetable, the pumpkin. Alright, let's do that again. This time with this beautiful bright wildflower called a poppy. Can you think? Which one is number 1? That's right, it's the poppy seeds. What comes next? Right again, it's the stem and the leaves. The plant is growing. And of course, finally, the plant makes flowers. How about the story of a tomato? Can you guess which one is number 1? That's right, it's the seeds. Those little things are tomato seeds. What happens after the seeds are in the soil? That's right, the leaves and the stem grows, and you have a tomato plant. Next, flowers. The pollinators come, the bees and the butterflies, they carry pollen from one flower to another, and that pollen changes the middle of the flower into a fruit. And there's number 4, the tomato. How about the story of the almond? What's first? The almonds. That's right, almonds are seed. That juicy thing that we eat, that nice crunchy almond, is actually a food store for the baby almond plant. What's next? The almond grows into a tree. And what does the tree make? Flowers. And there we have the life cycle. So now you know so much more about plants. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.